The night before my wedding, my phone buzzed with a message from my fiancé. It was simple, almost sterile. Mom wants you for dinner tonight. No warmth, no playful emoji, just those 6 words. It felt off. His mom and I were always pleasant but never close. Why this the night before our big day? A knot of unease tightened in my stomach. Was I reading too much into it? Maybe. But his text felt so distant, so unlike him. Despite the strange feeling, I decided to go. I wanted to start this new chapter of my life on the right foot, with an open heart. When I pulled up to their house, it was picture perfect. Candles flickered on the dining table, which was beautifully set for 2. His mom greeted me with a smile, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. "You look beautiful," she said, her voice soft. I just wanted a chance to talk, woman to woman. I offered a polite smile back and sat down as she poured us both some tea. The silence between us felt heavy, stretching on until she finally broke it. "You know, dear," she began, her gaze fixed on the steam rising from her cup. "Marriage is a monumental step. It's about so much more than just love, it's about truth." I nodded slowly, my mind racing, trying to figure out where this was going. Then she looked directly at me. "Do you really know my son?" The question caught me completely off guard. "Of course I do," I managed to say, trying to inject a confidence I didn't feel. She gave a faint, sad smile. "Perhaps, but there are parts of him, facets of his life that you might not have seen yet." Her tone sent a chill down my spine and my heart began to pound against my ribs. "What kind of things?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. She sighed, a deep, weary sound. "He's not a bad man," she said, choosing her words carefully. "But he hides parts of himself. Things even I didn't know about until it was far too late." I left their house that night feeling completely bewildered. Her words echoed in my head, a cryptic warning I couldn't decipher. Back in the quiet of my hotel room, I couldn't shake the feeling of dread. I picked up my phone and texted my fiancé. "Your mom said some strange things tonight. Is everything okay?" The minutes ticked by, each one feeling like an hour, before his reply came. "She just worries too much. Don't let it get to you." His words were meant to be reassuring, but they did the exact opposite. They felt like a dismissal, a quick attempt to brush aside my concerns, and it only amplified my unease. Sleep was impossible that night. My mind was a carousel, replaying her words over and over. He hides parts of himself. The phrase haunted me. As the first light of dawn streamed through the window, the morning of my wedding, I knew what I had to do. I couldn't walk down that aisle with this cloud of doubt hanging over me. I needed clarity. I needed the truth. So I got dressed and drove back to his mom's house. She opened the door looking surprised, but a sense of calm washed over her face almost immediately. "I had a feeling you'd come back," she said quietly, leading me inside. We sat in the same spot as the night before. Without a word, she handed me a small, ornate wooden box. My hands trembled slightly as I opened it. Inside, nestled on a bed of velvet, was an old photograph of my fiancé with another woman. They looked happy, deeply in love. This was his college sweetheart, his mom explained gently. They were together for years. He told you about her, right? My throat went dry and I could only shake my head. No, he never mentioned her. Her eyes softened with a look of deep compassion. He doesn't like to talk about her. Their relationship ended badly, and I think he still carries a heavy burden of guilt from it. When he met you, I was so relieved. I thought he had finally found a way to move on. But sometimes, I see the same patterns repeating. My heart didn't just sink, it plummeted. It wasn't the existence of an ex-girlfriend that hurt. It was the secrecy, the fact that he had built a wall around this entire chapter of his life and locked me out. When I got back to the hotel, he was pacing anxiously. "Where were you?" he asked, his voice tight with tension. "I went to see your mom," I said, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside me. "She told me about someone from your past. Why didn't you tell me?" He wouldn't meet my eyes. He looked away, his jaw clenched. "Because I didn't want to lose you," he finally admitted, his voice cracking. Every time I thought about telling you, I froze. I was so afraid you'd think I was still living in the past, that I wasn't fully with you. In that moment, his defenses crumbled, and for the first time I saw the raw emotion he'd been hiding, fear, guilt, and a profound sense of shame. I took a deep, steadying breath, my own emotions swirling. You don't lose people by telling them the truth, I whispered, the words hanging in the air between us. You lose them by hiding it. We postponed the wedding that day. We didn't break up, but we didn't get married either. We took a step back because we both realized something crucial. Sometimes what looks like peace is just silence. And in that silence, truth is just waiting for its moment to be spoken. That dinner with his mom, the one I almost didn't go to, didn't destroy my world. In a strange and unexpected way, it saved it. It taught me that a love built on secrets is built on sand, destined to crumble. But a love built on honesty, on the courage to face the past together, that kind of love always has a chance to find its way back. The night before my wedding, my phone buzzed. It was a message from my fiancé. Mom wants you for dinner tonight. I stared at the screen for a few seconds. Just that one line. No emojis, no hearts, no love you. Just cold words. Something about it made my stomach twist. Why would his mom want to see me alone the night before our wedding? I almost typed back, "Can it wait?" But I stopped myself. Maybe I was just overthinking. Maybe it was just dinner. So, I got ready, slipped into a simple dress, and drove to her house, completely unaware that this night was about to change everything. When I arrived, her home was elegant and warm, filled with the soft glow of candlelight. She greeted me at the door with a gentle smile. You look lovely, dear. Come in. I followed her into the dining room, but my eyes immediately noticed something was off. Only 2 plates were set on the table. There was no sign of my fiancé. He couldn't make it, she said calmly. He's finishing up some last-minute details for tomorrow. I nodded awkwardly, feeling a strange sense of unease settle in my chest. Her tone was just a little too calm. Dinner started politely enough. We made small talk, exchanged smiles and compliments. But the silence between each topic grew heavier and heavier, stretching out into long, uncomfortable pauses. Finally, she put her fork down and looked straight at me, her eyes holding a serious expression. You love my son, don't you? She asked. I nodded, a little taken aback. Of course I do. A faint, almost sad smile curved her lips. Love is a beautiful thing, she said softly. But sometimes, love can blind us. I frowned slightly, confused. I don't understand. She let out a soft sigh. He's a good man, but he's not perfect. And there are things you don't know, things he didn't tell you. My heart started pounding in my chest. A cold fear began to creep up my spine. What kind of things? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. She didn't answer right away. Instead, she stood up, walked over to a beautiful wooden cabinet and pulled out a plain white envelope. She came back to the table and placed it in front of me. Read it when you're alone, she said. Her voice wasn't angry. It was quiet, almost protective. Before I could ask any more questions, she completely changed the subject, acting as if everything was perfectly normal. The rest of the dinner was a blur. After it was over, she hugged me goodbye at the door, whispering, I just want you to be sure. I sat in my car outside her house, the weight of the envelope on my lap feeling heavier than a ton of bricks. My mind was racing. What could be inside? Curiosity finally won. My hands trembled as I tore it open. Inside was a printed email thread between my fiancé and someone named Lara. The messages were recent, from just 2 weeks ago. I miss you. I still think about what we had. That was from Lara. And his reply. You know I can't talk right now. I'm getting married soon. Her response was sharp. Then why are you still replying? My chest tightened until it felt like I couldn't breathe. It wasn't just one message, there were several. He had been in contact with his ex-girlfriend. Tears welled up in my eyes, blurring the words on the page. I felt a tidal wave of emotions crash over me. Betrayal, confusion, anger all at once. My first instinct was to call him, to scream at him, to demand an explanation. But instead, I just sat there in silence, the world crumbling around me. The next morning, on what was supposed to be our wedding day, I went to see him. He smiled the moment he saw me, acting like nothing was wrong. But then he noticed the envelope in my hand and the color drained from his face. He turned pale. "Where did you get that?" he asked, his voice strained. "Your mom gave it to me," I replied quietly, my gaze steady. "You've been talking to her, haven't you?" He hesitated, then ran a hand through his hair in a gesture of pure panic. "It wasn't like that," he said quickly, stumbling over his words. "Lara reached out, she was struggling, I didn't want to be cruel." I just looked him straight in the eyes. "Did you tell me?" He stayed silent, and that silence told me everything I needed to know. We sat there for what felt like an eternity. There was no shouting, no drama, just a heavy, suffocating silence between two people who once trusted each other completely. Finally, he broke the quiet. "I was scared," he admitted, his voice cracking. "I was scared you'd think less of me. I didn't want to ruin us over something that meant nothing." I took a deep breath, the pain in my chest sharp. "But it did mean something," I whispered. "Not because of her, but because of what you chose to hide." He looked absolutely broken. I could see the regret swimming in his eyes, but something inside of me had already shifted. The anger was gone. I was just done. Done pretending that our love was perfect. The ceremony was supposed to start in 2 hours. Guests were arriving, the decorations were up, the flowers were perfectly arranged, but I knew, with a certainty that chilled me to the bone, that I couldn't to walk down that aisle with this giant seed of doubt planted in my heart. So, I made the hardest decision of my life. I called his mom. "You were right," I said quietly into the phone, my voice thick with emotion. "Love shouldn't have secrets." She didn't sound surprised at all. "I'm proud of you, dear," she whispered back. "It takes incredible strength to walk away, especially when you still care." That evening, instead of a wedding reception, I found myself sitting by the lake near the venue, still in the dress I was supposed to get married in. I watched the sunset paint the sky in shades of orange and pink, feeling both completely heartbroken and strangely free. It wasn't the happy ending I had imagined for myself, but maybe, just maybe, it was the beginning I truly needed. Because sometimes silence isn't a weakness, it's a form of wisdom. And sometimes, true love isn't proven by staying, but by having the courage to know when it's time to walk away. Thank you for listening. If this story resonated with you, please consider liking and subscribing for more.